This is good.
I should have worn my "I Love My Life" shirt.
Well, we were drinking today from our favorite cups. Our favorite
Dude, we do love those cups.
Awesome.
Coffee mugs.
Gotta get some.
Right, we're live, right? We're live on.
We're live right now. Yeah, we're back at it. We're going live to you from Massachusetts, the William and
Veronica real estate team.
And we're super excited to have our friend here hanging out with us today, Colton Lindsay. He's a owner and he manages a real estate team in Utah. He's ranked 1% top in his marketplace. He's a real estate trainer. He's our mentor. He's a coach, online marketer, entrepreneur, investor. He's a creator of passive income. His motto is work on the inner game. He's a father of 2 beautiful girls. I mean, the list goes on.
Goes on and on.
We're
You're gonna make me blush, guys. You're gonna make my nice smile shine.
Well, we're excited to be hanging out with you, and the purpose of these videos is to get information out there to either buyers, sellers, people in general. COVID-19, people are going through. We're all going through this together, and we wanted to have you on here just because you've been guiding us. You're our mentor for many years now, and there's a lot of real estate agents. They're not exposed to the information that you're giving out there. So we wanted to have you out here and just help our community in any way we can, even if they're not part of our brokerage. So we're excited to have you.
Thanks for having me here. I appreciate it. I really do.
Thanks, buddy. So we're going to give you the stage here just to let yourself introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, awesome. So I've been in business 15 years now, believe it or not. Feels like just yesterday I got into real estate. And I got into the business into 2005, 2006 timeframe, just right before the market crashed in the 07-08 recession. And I was able to thrive through that time because I didn't really know what was going on. And I didn't have a bunch of business. I didn't have a bunch of debt or liabilities. And so all these top agents were losing all their behinds in that time frame, and I was able to just really grow. And I remember it went from 2007 when the real estate market crashed, 2008 the stock market crashed, to where we hit the bottom of the market in about 2011, at least here in Utah. It might be different depending on where agents are located. And one of the things that I'm really grateful for that time is it kind of drove this real estate prepper mentality into me. And I heard this idea of financial freedom, where your leveraged residual income pays for your desired lifestyle, right? I mean, why did you guys get into real estate? You guys in because you wanted more time and more money, right? More time, more money. And I'd heard about passive income. Then I got into real estate and realized, well, if people are getting passive income in real estate, why are all these people going broke right now? It didn't make sense to me because I didn't understand how the economy worked, didn't know how anything worked. So I just committed myself to learn what actually would create financial freedom. And I learned how the economy works, and I knew that there was a day going to come that the market was going to get hit hard. I didn't know it was going to be because of a pandemic, okay? But I did know there was going to be something that was going to crash the market. And I knew it was going to be worse than this based on what I'd studied in our research. So over the last 10 years, all I've done is I've done cash flow management and tax-free wealth to be able to expand and really create this residual income and financial freedom that we'd all desired. And one of the things I learned along the way is that it has to have constant innovation. So a lot of realtors right now, and maybe they're starting to become to a sense, is they've been in denial about the situation. It's almost as if we've thought and we've been told we're just putting the pause button, and it's just gonna be for 2 weeks, then 4 weeks, then 8 weeks, and then it will turn back on, right? That's kind of been what we've been taught, but the reality is it's not. It's not gonna be turned back on. It's already on. Like, it was never off. It just, the rules of the game switched like overnight. Mm-hmm. And thankfully I've already been ahead of playing the new rules to the game, because my mind was already, this is going to happen. I didn't know it was going to happen because of, like I said, the pandemic, but this was going to happen. So what I dedicated my life to is, because probably there was a point where I was making great money, but I was really unhappy because I thought that the money was what was going to, like, what I really wanted. And what I found out is I wanted emotion. I wanted specific emotion. But during that time frame, I was smoking weed, driving to listing appointments. I was drinking in the middle of a Wednesday, right? Instead of being on a call with you guys Thursday, I'd be drinking, right? But what I found out is what realtors really needed to do, as I learned the hard way, was manage their psychological and their emotional state. And if they can manage their psychological and emotional state, it doesn't matter what's going on externally, and this is not just realtors, this is buyers, this is sellers, this is business owners, these are moms, these are dads, these are people. And then what happens is when the rug gets pulled out from underneath this, and I tell mastermind partners all the time, your plan is going to get jacked up. We have the biggest jacked up plan in the history of our lives happening in the last 30 days. Now some of us are just coming out of it. The stun is like, well, crap, what am I going to do now? Right? How will this affect the real estate market? How will this affect my money? How will this affect my health? You know, how is this, like, people feeling more stress and anxiety than ever before? I mean, have you guys had any stress or anxiety in the last month that you felt?
Well, you know, of course, it's
Yeah, of
almost like
course.
inevitable,
Yeah.
but trying to stay focused and positive, you know,
Right.
with your help
And
too.
that's why we value the mastermind
Mhm.
so much, because we just jumped off a call with you 10 minutes ago, and we were talking about emotional states, right?
Right.
How do you feel, right? We
Right.
worked through that through you, and that's what we
Yep.
learned through it. So absolutely. Yeah.
So what's happening though is a lot of people though, they're not even aware that there's an emotional and psychological piece that they can manage, and so they are freaking out, right? I want you to imagine you got 3-4 kids and you worked in the whole hotel industry. You're out of a job right now, and we've been living in a happy and fat and prosperous time for the last decade, and so we weren't prepared for this. People weren't prepared for this, and so one of the lessons I want to really teach people is now use this as an opportunity to prepare, because you've got a huge opportunity to grow through this, but this isn't the last time there's going to be a market crash. And my personal belief is the next one, I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, because we're not done with this one, but it might be 5 years, it might be 8 years, it might be 12 years, but it's going to happen again, and it's going to be worse. So between now and then, do you want to make the opportunity to spend on all these trips and vacations and things that steal money from you, or do you want to build assets that pay you over and over again? For example, my business in the last 30 days has doubled in the last 30 days. How many people though whose business has been completely shut off? I'll give you an example. I was talking to a new gal that works with the academy, and she worked for a place in Denver, Colorado, something like Little Pub or something like that. But they basically own 200 restaurants, pubs, bars, things like that. They first did a furlough because they couldn't be open. And then a few days later, they laid everyone off, and they said that they have no intent to open all 200 restaurants, any of the 200 restaurants and locations after the shutdown. You're seeing major fragile industries just get crushed.
Right.
And so what are you doing as we shift these times through technology to stay thriving? That's really the question. And it's changing your mindset. It's changing the things you actually do. You guys are doing a great job, by the way, because you're doing more of these live streams. But how long have you seen people doing live streams, right? And it's not new. People are just doing it more now because the blinder's been taken off. You guys are even more aware. You guys are actually more aware before this happened, right? I think this just kicked you guys in the butt a little bit more, because when we talked several months ago, you're like, we got to learn this crap, right?
Right. Yeah, no, I think a lot of people they still have that mindset. Like you're saying, it's after the shutdown, people are just going to restart to where they left off. And we worked through that as soon as this happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once we shut down, it was scrapping the 2020 business plan and just going on survival mode, cutting expenses, and just focus on, building back up for next time something like this happens. We'd be better prepared. We'd document the process. So
Right.
how would somebody better prepare for the next time something like this happens?
Well, I think the first thing, there's two major things that I think people are being challenged with right now. One is their financial world is being challenged, but two is their health and vitality is being challenged. So I think you got to pick where for you specifically that you feel most insecure, because what the pandemic is doing is it's just lighting up your insecurities. So people that are feeling more fear or worry or doubt or anxiousness, all it is doing is lighting up where you're fragile and where you're insecure in your life. So pay attention to that. It's actually a gift for you. And so if it's your health and you're worried about getting the virus, guess what? Time to level up your nutrition, your health, your vitality, and taking care of this body that you have. Now, it's not going to guarantee that you don't get sick and have a problem, but it's definitely going to improve you. and it's going to improve your belief around it, and it's going to improve your level of life and your emotional state. For some of you guys might be feeling insecure with your finances because the tide's going out right now. We're going to see who's been swimming with their pants off. We're going to see who's swimming naked. And so I would say the first thing is you need to get educated financially. You need to understand, how does the economy actually work? It happens through spending. And with all these places shut down and 10 million plus, I don't even know what the number's at now, unemployed. And that's not even counting people who have had their hours cut. Okay. So there's going to be less spending in the economy. So there's two problems with this. One is it really slows down the economy. But two is, if there's less spending, how are you going to make sure people are spending on your product, on your service, on your things, so you don't dry up? And one of the great ways to be prepared for that is to be very, very cash heavy. Cash equals oxygen in your business and in your life. And you got to be liquid, because here's what happened in 2008. They started shutting off financing. Like, I have a friend, I was on a conversation with her doing a live stream the other day, super wealthy, super successful. She had a really good line of credit with the bank, and they went to pull money off of it because they know what happens is they'll close them down. Before she could get to it and pull money, they're not letting anyone at their entire bank pull money off of the line of credit right now. So that's what happens in depressions, is they stop letting you get credit. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have cash and you've been relying on credit the last decade, you're going to be in a world of hurt. You know, there's a lot of Mike Ferry agents out there that tell me they operate their entire business off of a line of credit. A lot of Canadians do that. And I'm like, you're making a mistake, because you don't know what's going to shake it up. And then they close your line of credit down and you got no cash. What are you going to do? And so you got to learn how to manage your cash flow. If you can't manage $1, you never manage $1 million. So you got to learn how to manage your tax or your cash flow. The other thing you got to do is you got to create tax-free wealth. And realtors have a great opportunity to really establish themselves as a business and take advantage of that. If you're not taking advantage of that, you're giving more money away to the government. And I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to how the government's spending money these days.
Right.
But we've got 24 now, an additional $2.2 trillion in debt as a country. So we'll call it $26 trillion. How long would it take you to count to 26 trillion? You couldn't even do it in this lifetime. And so if they're going to manage that cash, or you're going to manage that cash, I would rather trust in me and get great at managing that cash. And I want to pay as little to them as possible, because I feel like it's being done very irresponsibly. And I feel I'm like more responsible for my own economy. So identify, where are you insecure at? Number one. Number two is get educated in that space and follow a proven model from someone that has created those results in your life and duplicate it. And I think that another word is be patient, right? We want results instantly. I mean, I didn't get to where I'm at in my business and my finances overnight. I've been working on this for 15 years. And so it takes time. You got to be patient in the process, but little by little, it starts to snowball, it starts to grow. And the simple things create the big things.
Yep.
And that's great. You know, like all the advice that we've been getting from you, it's, you know, we're pretty much taking it word by word. Share with us, you know, one of the things that really stuck to us was saving money, and like, you know, getting as much cash as possible. Cash means oxygen. So what advice can you give somebody who's, you know, a realtor like us, or somebody who's self-employed, to make sure to cut expenses, but not cut the wrong expenses, or, you know,
correct.
to make sure that they're actually doing the right thing and not cutting something that is actually providing business for them?
Right. So, you know, right when, because I was planning our summer, our WGR event in Las Vegas. So I'd been really heavy into the event space since the first of the year, getting that prepared. And I saw what was going on, and I had just made the contract. And then I was like, well, wait a second. There's people out of the country canceling events. This is something I need to pay attention to. And so the moment I then made a decision before anyone else to cancel my event, which I didn't tell anyone publicly about that yet, because I was a little embarrassed, right? Who am I, the guy that's going to cancel this event? I've been telling everyone about it. It's all over my social, right? But I knew it was just a bad investment. So I canceled that event, and then I hopped on a call with some of the biggest leaders in my local industry, because I wanted to get in touch with them and see what they saw was going on. And the first thing they said was, we're cutting 30 to 40% of our expenses right off the top. We're just getting rid of them. And it means they're not waiting for it. So I cut about 35% of my expenses off about the day that the first stock market crashed, when we felt that first crash. It's just right before, I think, when the NBA canceled. If you guys remember that was just to kind of give a time frame of what was going on. And so right away, we started training people on go through your expenses, look at your expenses, make a whole itemized list with them, and highlight which things are actually necessary and which things are useful and which things you don't need, and begin cutting things off. But one thing I'm going to recommend that you don't cut off is your education, because right now is the time you need to be doubling down, tripling down on your education, becoming even more aware how to take advantage of the greatest opportunity in my lifetime. There's never been a better opportunity in the history of business than now to become extremely wealthy. Here's an example. Warren Buffett's company, Berkshire Hathaway, is sitting on $125 trillion. And I want you to think, if hotel chains are closing right now, restaurants are closing right now, Carnival, right? The cruise line, they're not making much money right now. They've dropped like 90% or something in their value of their company, just like that. How many opportunities does Berkshire Hathaway have as the economy continues to drive downwards and able to buy these very cheap businesses and companies? The same thing's going to happen in the real estate market and in the stock market. I do want you guys to be very aware. Don't be asking the question, what stock should I buy, until you've mastered your cash flow management. You start educating yourself, because I don't think the stock market's done going down. If you look at 1929, 1987, 2000, 2008, and the biggest stock market crashes in our history, it took 1.5 to 3 years for the market to fully reach the bottom. So if you're buying some of these stocks right now, chances are they haven't gone down all the way yet. So you're buying them still and going to take losses. And the idea is you want to buy for profit. So when you have cash, you might not be able to have 125 trillion. Come on, no one's going to be able to have that unless you're Buffett, right? But if you've been taking the last decade and managing your cash flow, investing in your education, investing in your long-term savings, investing in your financial freedom, and maximizing your tax-free wealth so you keep more cash in your control, guess what? You're going to have a huge opportunity, whether it's 6 months, 12 months, 18 months down the road, but it's coming your way. And if you mix that cash with being educated, you're going to know how to take advantage of the opportunity. So a lot of people were a little bit behind to start that now for a lot of people, but what you can do immediately is start your cash flow management and take advantage of the innovation opportunity. Because realtors that are innovating, we had this on our mastermind call today. I believe going forward, this is going to make it even easier for you to do complete virtual real estate business, right? So we've been told for how long as realtors that we're not going to be able to compete at a full commission service because of companies like Zillow, companies like Redfin, companies like, these different virtual companies, because they're charging less. But you saw what Redfin just did. They laid off 42% of their realtors in a down economy. 42%.
About that article, how they just, laid off 41% and 7% of their staff, I believe.
Right. EXP just cut back as well. I mean, it's survival, right?
But I think, on EXP, I think EXP is, they are being smart. You look at Redfin, what was it, 41% you said of the agents? What are those agents going to go do now? Because they've been relying on a company to take care of them. They've been relying on a discounted company to take care of them that can't any longer. So I believe now you're going to be able to be even more virtual now, and still charge what you're worth, and probably even increase what your fees are. Why? Because you're a freaking expert. Like right now, the masterminds, people in my academy, they're paying $9,000 to get educated, while other people are shrinking their business. I'm talking to my team, we're going to increase our prices. Why? Because there is a demand for what value I'm bringing to the marketplace. So if you look at a real estate agent and you're being able to create even more value, you can command even better prices on what you charge, because you're delivering on it, and people will beg for it.
We love it. I mean, if you really think about it, it's interesting that when you go to school, nobody really teaches you about financial management. You go to college, nobody's teaching you about financial management. It's through you that we learn some of these tax-free, or keeping more of our money through tax savings and building that financial freedom. So what would you say to like a brand new agent, like thinking about starting in the real estate industry today?
I would say to a brand new agent, get a hold of me and let's get you in the Alliance program.
No doubt.
Good advice.
Let's get you in the Alliance program. But
we have agents, we have people, not agents. We have people asking us, hey, is this a good time to to start in the real estate industry. Just maybe some of them have recently lost their jobs and they're looking at this as a
great time to get started, because what else you going to do? What other jobs are you going to go do? Here's what's cool about, I believe we have started and already entered into the biggest global depression in the history of the United States. Okay. And what that means is we're going to have 20, 30% unemployment rates. I want to imagine that 30% of 300 and whatever we got, 40 million people in the US, 30% of them unemployed, right? And now obviously not all 350 people are employed in the first place because we got kids in that, right? But 30% unemployment rate. How are they going to provide for their families? I'm going to write this word down, innovate. The best businesses come from startups in depressions and in declining markets, because they start to find a need to be able to create money, currency exchange. One of the things that's very unfortunate about this global depression, and the other part of the global depression is it's psychological and emotional.
Mm-hmm.
How many people probably can't even get out of bed right now because they're so doomed and gloomed? You know, you guys aren't those people. I get that, because you're playing at a higher level, but there's a lot of people, that's where they're at. Can you imagine losing your entire, here's a restaurant in town, they've been open since 2004. Their doors are closed right now. Right. One of my favorite restaurants, it's a pizza and pub place. I don't even know if they're going to open back up. Like, I go down 25th Street where all the restaurants are, they're empty, they're closed, they're down. Most of those people are not going to open their doors again for business. Okay. So they're going to be forced to go create a new business. And if they don't, a lot of them, it's because they're stuck in this depression. The woe is me, I lost it. Great example is the distillery here, and I know it's happening in other markets. One of our local distilleries, Five Wives, they distill like whiskey and vodka and stuff like that. Now guess what they're distilling? Hand sanitizer. They innovated. They innovated. And do you think there's a demand for hand sanitizer? Yes or yes?
Right.
So, right. Your ability to innovate is going to be just amazing opportunity, and that's what's going to fill the gaps in the marketplace, and that's where a lot of money is going to be made through this. But you got to get educated. You got to get focused. So think about maybe someone that lost their job, I don't know, in the hotel industry, and they've learned skill sets there that, you know what, maybe now is a great time to get my real estate license and I can innovate, because guess what? There's a lot of realtors that aren't innovating. They're sitting at home waiting for the shutdown to end so they can relaunch business. What are we talking about, guys? We're talking about the idea of what if you could have the belief of selling real estate virtually and never leaving your kitchen table? What if you could do that? What if you could run that business? It's possible, and now it's going to be even more possible because you're going to be forced to innovate. So I think that's really important, is to innovate through this. You have to learn, though, how do I create a new belief and idea? Get into a community like the WGR Mastermind or the Alliance if you're a newer agent, and start to think differently. You've heard the saying, think outside of the box.
Right.
Have you heard that?
Mm-hmm.
Screw that. There is no box for me. Anything is freaking possible.
Everything.
I've never had a box.
Yeah, if you conceive it, you believe it.
That's right. So Colton, I'm going to shift gears a little bit, and I'm going to, you mentioned to us, you talked to us about stimulus reliefs, you know, the SBA loan, PPA, PPP loans. Talk to us a little bit more about that. We want to share with our audience.
Which loan specifically? Give me one loan to start with.
SBA loan, for example.
Okay, so the SBA loan, I recommend that everyone that's a realtor or in a real estate business go apply. Now, a lot of people are going to apply, so here's the key word: be patient. Okay, be patient. And it might be a minute before you get through that, but it takes you 10 minutes to fill it out, and you're going to look at opportunities, because what is oxygen? What do we talk about as oxygen? Cash.
Oxygen.
Okay, and you're going to have very low interest rates through those to be able to have cash to innovate. Okay, and if we look at the PPP loan specifically, guess what? You're going to have some of that, if not a large portion of it, forgivable. Now, there is a negative view on that in the sense of we're taking handouts from the government, but I'm the type of guy that's like, hey, if there's free cash, I am a generous giver, but I'm also an excellent receiver. I'm going to receive that, and I'm going to utilize it. I'm going to write this down: accept and utilize what is. So if there's a PPP loan and I can utilize it and I can advance, whether even if it's just a $10,000 loan that I don't have to pay back, awesome, let's roll with it. Or even if I end up with $10,000 that I can get forgiven and another $10,000 that is a 1% interest over 2 years. Are you kidding me? 1%? That's like free money.
Right.
Okay. And if you get educated, like get into the WGR Alliance or Mastermind, and you manage your cash flow and you build your tax-free wealth plan, you're going to be able to use that cash for your advantage. You're going to be able to use that cash to create more cash into your oxygen tank.
That's
So
great.
do it. Fill it out. And if the way for the PPP loan is you need to get with your bank. There's a training. If people ask, you can send them onto my business page. I did it Monday night. It's a 1 hour, almost hour and a half training on the ins and outs of the PPP loan.
Okay, great. We already applied for the SBA, so we're looking into the other one for sure.
Right. I would definitely do it. If you're wondering if you should do it or not, the answer is yes.
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Well, we just set up our S corp after how many years of
I know. Talking about
it,
and not doing it.
we finally set it up.
But here's what's so cool. Now, I want to use this as a learning lesson for folks, because you've obviously heard about doing it before, because I've talked about this for years, but for whatever reason, you didn't do it. Okay. But now you're doing it. You're getting it established. And guess what? You're establishing it at the perfect time, because you're going to be able to take advantage of the opportunities going forward. Because over the next decade or 8 years, we will get through this, and you're going to innovate. Now, I think the economy is going to be a very slow recovery. Could be 5, 8, 15 years, maybe even. My mind is 15 plus years to even get back to the levels we were at. That's depression levels. But you can actually accelerate beyond that and take advantage financially. And so it's like, guess what? If it takes 15 years for the economy to recover, that's 15 years of opportunity that you get to take advantage of. Would you have rather bought real estate in 2011 or 2020?
2011.
Right, because it was the bottom of the market.
Yep.
And we haven't hit that yet, but we will soon. And when we do, guess what? It's not going to soar like it did before quickly. I know a lot of people say it's going to do this V and bounce back. How is that possible when you've got over 10 million people unemployed?
Right.
Where's the money and spending going to come from?
Right. And the fear itself, right?
And the fear.
Right.
Like, even when the lockdown ends, people are going to be traumatized from this psychologically. You got freaking people wearing masks out there now. This isn't just going to be like, oh, life is normal again. No.
Right.
We were never going back to life the way it was 60 days ago.
Which is a good segue into you work a lot on the inner game. How could you give some advice on how to work through that?
So I believe time equals emotion. We've been trained that it equals money. And so every moment, we only get this moment. This moment's all we get. So what is the emotion you're experiencing now? And what is the emotion you want to experience even more of? I first learned this because I just didn't feel peaceful or tranquility. So my emotion was stress, worry, doubt, anxiety. I used to feel a ton of anxiety, overwhelmment, frustration, irritation, impatience, right? And so I realized I didn't like that anymore. So if I kept doing what I was doing, I was going to get that even more. I had to identify, for me, actionable items. I call them rituals in my life that stimulate that emotion I want. So for me, it was peace and tranquility. I've discovered that breath work, meditation, Tai Chi, yoga, stretching my body, and not just doing it for a minute or two, but 45 minutes, an hour and a half, giving myself that gift. Guess what? Now I train myself through practice, because practice makes what? Permanent, even though we've been trained that it makes perfect, which is also a lie. How many people do you know that practice and they suck, right? They're not good at their skill and they've practiced a ton. Practice just makes permanent. So you practice these rituals in your life, and now I have way more peace and tranquility. It doesn't mean that I don't get triggered and I feel anxiety. I love it now when I feel some anxiety, because I can be aware, oh shoot, there's an insecurity that I haven't dealt with yet. Here's an example. When the shutdown really started happening in Utah, we also had a 5.7 earthquake here in Utah. You think that triggered some insecurity and some anxiety in me? Absolutely.
Of course.
Right? And what was cool afterwards, I realized, hey, I am really, really well prepared. At the same time, I realized, shit, I don't have any earthquake insurance on my house. I better get some earthquake insurance, right? So it signaled to me where I could create some new growth opportunities. So when time equals emotion, you have to find what part of your life, what emotion you want. So you have your morning. For me, I want peace, tranquility, calmness. Then you have your day. Daytime, as a business owner, I want absolute freaking certainty. I'm going to drive business into me. Like that, I'm going to create revenue. I'm going to get clients. I'm going to grow. And then at the end of the day, for my nighttime routine, I want connection with others. I want relaxation. I want to celebrate my wins, as opposed to what do a lot of people do? They get into their morning and they get rushed into their phone and their stuff they got to do, trying to stay ahead, especially the last month. Have you guys felt that all? Like, oh, I gotta stay ahead of things, right? And then they get into business. Oh crap, how's this going to affect my business? Now sellers don't want buyers to come through the house. Oh shoot, I'm in North Carolina. I can't even show houses right now. I'm locked down and we're not essential. Or you're in the Bronx, New York, where it's really tight, right? So then you start to get insecure and uncertainty in your business. Okay, but you got to identify what creates the certainty. Or then you get to the end of the day. Has this ever happened to you? You get to the end of the day and you're like, felt like you did all this stuff, but there's still more stuff to do. And it's like this never-ending list of stuff. Yeah. And so it's identifying what rituals actually shift that feeling of not getting enough done, the feeling of not having certainty in my business, the feeling of not having peace and tranquility or not having connection. And identify for you, what is that action? And then do it. And your body is actually going to be trained to not do it. It's going to be hard to do it at first because you're so addicted to what you are doing. But what you are doing is like, why would a heroin addict keep using heroin if they know that it's a 50-50 shot of them dying? It's because their body is so wired to do it that way that it gives them a dopamine hit. It gives them a huge high. So when you keep going on at the end of the night, all the shit you didn't get done, and you keep thinking about it, your body's actually getting a high off of it. It's addicted to it. Right. So your first time not doing that or creating this new ritual, whether it's meditation or breath work, whatever, it's going to feel abnormal. It's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel like you don't even want to do it, but do it anyways. Because here's the secret to success. It's not hard work. I know a lot of hardworking folks that are not successful financially or in their life. Are you willing to do what you don't feel like doing when you don't feel like doing it? You might not feel like getting out of bed at 5 a.m. and drinking 30 ounces of water, but I freaking do it anyways. I might not feel like physically doing a meditation, or I don't know how to meditate, or it's weird. I do it anyways. In fact, I have a little jingle. When it's raining outside, I do it anyways. When my baby's up all night, I do it anyways. When I'm sick, I do it anyways. When it's cold outside, I do it anyways. When it's snowing, I do it anyways. Just do it anyways. And then you create that new pattern and you create the new emotion.
I love it. Just do it anyways.
Just do it anyways.
Well, we talked about innovate. We talked about financial freedom, managing your emotions, get clear on what emotions you're looking for. Anything else you want to add to our audience here?
I just want to add that, yes, you can, you're going to be okay. You're going to make it. Like, look at humanity. We've existed a very long time. Now we're going to have some challenges. I don't want to downplay that, but you can thrive in your business. You can thrive financially. You can make it happen. A good example, I interviewed a friend of mine, Ruben Mata. Okay. He just got off the ventilator with COVID-19. And 2008, he went from earning 7 figures a year, losing everything, going broke, driving a 1991 Privia van he has a picture of him putting $10 of quarters in for gas. That's how broke he was. And guess what? He grew from it. He grew from it, and he's now successful. He spoke for the UN in South Korea 2 or 3 times now. He trains all over the world, in Poland, Brazil, South America, Colombia, United States. He's got an amazing coaching and training business, teaching NLP. He has a mortgage company, and there's proof that no matter where you're at, whether you've been prepared for this moment or at the rock bottom, you can still make it happen. And we're going to get through this as a country and a world. I believe in God. Number one, He exists. He is real. She exists, whatever you want to call him or her. But I believe in that entity and that this is here to serve us. But I also believe in me. I believe in myself. And so I want to encourage you to believe in yourself and trust in you. And then the third thing is, I believe in people. I believe in humanity. I believe that we're here for more than just a horrible experience that we're kind of going through right now, but this is really a gift, and that trust in you and trust in the greatness of others, and you're going to be fine.
We're going to get through this. Well, there's only one final question, right?
Yeah, so we always like to end up with a fun question. So after everything is done and after things go back to semi-normal, what's the first place that Colton Lindsay is going to go to?
Ooh, you know, what am I gonna go to? Um, I'm probably gonna go to the Angry Goat and have this most delicious grilled romaine Caesar salad with these grilled shrimp and have a delicious beer or maybe even a glass of whiskey, a shot of whiskey, and eat at that restaurant. That's where I'm gonna go.
I love it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
What kind of beer?
You know what? There's this I can't remember what it's called now, but it's this kind of this citric orange taste, and it's freaking delicious. But I've been really into drinking some Pendleton whiskey with ginger beer lately. It's delicious as well.
Nice.
That's good.
And by lately, I don't mean all the time. I mean when I have a drink. I'm not an alcoholic.
There you go, man. Well, we appreciate you, good man. We love it when you talk. We listen for sure. So we appreciate.
Thank you so much for.
Thanks, guys.
We're gonna throw your information there, and I'd highly recommend to reach out to this guy.
Yep.
Follow him on Facebook, YouTube. This guy is he's full of wisdom.
Yes.
So yeah,
Awesome.
Colton, we love you, my man.
Thank you for watching.
We'll talk soon. See ya.
Yeah.
Bye.